we've probably all mid-curved NVIDIA because we were assuming that there was going to be a boom-bust cycle because Microsoft and others will have pre-ordered what they're doing. But now we're seeing nation states with endless capital availability building yet more stuff. And I just can't see how that stock doesn't continue to really perform because it's at the epicenter of everything still, and that doesn't go away, and Taiwan Semi being another.
Hey guys, welcome to Everyday Finance. We've formally entered the second stage of what Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal refers to as the banana zone, a crucial stage in the Bitcoin market cycle that marks the beginning of accelerating momentum, sharp price growth, and expanding involvement from significant institutional players. He contends that this stage is the most explosive leg of Bitcoin's current bull market, and is not merely another bullish run. Pal maintains that what we are seeing is just the start of a much more aggressive upward trend, given that Bitcoin has already increased by more than 15% in the past month alone. As a flood of funds from pension funds, major institutional investors, and international financial institutions start to pour into the digital asset space, he predicts that this stage will bring in record-breaking capital inflows. Pal claims that rather than being speculative hype, this is a structural shift in the way capital markets interact with cryptocurrencies, driven by enhanced infrastructure, more transparent regulations, and a growing belief in Bitcoin as a macro asset class. He contends that both price dynamics driven by scarcity and the beginning of an investor's psychological tipping point will propel Bitcoin to new all-time highs at an accelerating rate. This second phase, which may surpass all previous cycles in size and velocity, represents a significant change in sentiment and capital rotation. Pal emphasizes that for those who are positioned early, this period may be the most significant window for investors, providing opportunities that could change their lives.
Welcome, everybody, to the monthly Farside Chat that started with David and I, and now it's all of us. We all come together and talk about some of this crazy stuff that is going on in the world, how to make sense of it all. And what I love about these conversations is they are conversations. It's not just a Q&A of David and I. Yes, we do that as well. But it's also everybody adding in their thoughts about where this journey is going, because it's, as we can tell, and we say this all the time, it's just accelerating, and it's almost tough to make sense of. So I love the idea of getting this kind of hive mind together to make sense of the world around us, what is happening, what it means for us, where it's all going. David, how are you, my friend?
Very well, thank you, Raoul. How are you? Think you've been a busy man.
I have. I've been traveling a lot. Really interesting. I was in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Qatar. And I was at the Abu Dhabi Investment Council, which is one of the big sovereign wealth funds. And they just made it very clear that everybody in the region, and Tom will know this because he's out there as well, is that they've all been given the mandate. Number one is AI, and number two is blockchain. Our core thesis is what they're building their entire future country stack on. And this is the whole Trump visit that went there. It's all about the same thing. So they know they've got abundant energy, which is part of your thesis, David. They know they've got abundant energy. They know that they're going to have to adopt technology at scale. They've got young populations that are growing, and they think they can be not only a regional leader, but a world leader in these two things. And so the mandate is invest in this, build this. And it's really exciting to see. I mean, everyone there is still trying to get their heads around what it means. I mean, but this is everything from the oil company through to the sovereign wealth funds, through to the general population, through to businesses, through to the education system, the system of government, all of it. That's what's up to grabs. And that's not just in Abu Dhabi, which tends to be very well thought through in this, but it's Dubai, it's Qatar, and it's Saudi. And Saudi's, really is a big player behind the scenes in this whole thing. So they have this cohesive strategy about what the world is going to look like, and that's what they're accelerating on.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? And there are a few sort of exponential age times geopolitics things to get into this month, but one of the big things was Saudi Arabia announcing this humane AI, like just massive nationwide strategic push on AI, hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA chips, tens of billions of dollars a year. And, this is something we talked about at the GMI event in California, just how deeply MBS sort of gets it, right? Gets the exponential age. And you just sense a country now that knows the oil wealth is not going to last forever and ever, and is just making a massive strategic decision around intelligence and the exponential age. And it's really interesting to watch it.
We've probably all mid-curved NVIDIA because we were assuming that there was going to be a boom-bust cycle because Microsoft and others will have pre-ordered what they're doing. But now we're seeing nation states with endless capital availability building yet more stuff. And I just can't see how that stock doesn't continue to really perform because it's at the epicenter of everything still, and that doesn't go away, and Taiwan Semi being another.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we can gallop straight into the other really interesting thing this month. I mean, Jensen Huang was just speaking at Computex, the massive technology conference in Taiwan, right? And talking through the way NVIDIA sees AI, fascinating, this journey from AI to agents to physical AI, which he's talked about before. But if you just want an overview of where AI is heading, it's a brilliant talk. Announcing some really interesting stuff that we can get into, I really want to get into. But one of the big things he announced was a strategic partnership to build a massive AI supercomputer in Taiwan, right? So this is NVIDIA, the Taiwanese government, and TSMC all coming together to build, a world-leading AI supercomputer in Taiwan, right? And it just strikes me that really taps into all kinds of fascinating stuff. One of the things it taps into is this idea of a grand bargain that you and I have talked about before, that I think came out of the GMI event the year before last, right?
That's right.
You can just see how interwoven US AI companies and TSMC are becoming, to the point where outright conflict just becomes unthinkable. And it's like you can have TSMC factories in Arizona, but in return, US companies, basically NVIDIA, need to agree to do hundreds of thousands of chips in Taiwan to do a world-leading AI supercomputer. And at some point, we know that these are going to break apart into spheres of influence, right? And we're kind of arranging that now. That's what it feels like to me. And we're going to be so woven through each other that outright conflict becomes unthinkable. It's really interesting to see the strategy play out. And cycling back to what you said, we have mid-curved it because, this is another kind of God knows how many other 100,000 NVIDIA chips, right? So where's the boom and bust cycle when you have sovereign nations wading in like this?
According to Raoul Pal, the adoption of cryptocurrencies is growing at a rate that has never been seen by any other investable asset class in history. This rapid expansion is not only changing financial markets, but also paving the way for one of the fastest wealth concentrations in history. He predicts that there will be more than 1.1 billion active cryptocurrency wallets by the end of 2025. A startling figure that shows a sharp and widespread increase in the use of digital assets. This degree of adoption represents a profound change in the distribution, growth, and storage of capital, not just technological curiosity. A fundamental market truth that underpins Pal's argument is that price movement is driven by liquidity. He contends that global liquidity is currently flooding cryptocurrency markets at a never-before-seen pace, driven by central bank policy, easing financial regulations, and changing investor priorities. The crypto cycle is entering a parabolic phase as a result of this wave's growth, which is marked by outperformance in almost every area of the digital asset space, increased institutional allocation, and explosive price action. According to Pal, we are currently experiencing the most potent leg of the cryptocurrency boom, where capital flows, infrastructure maturity, and user growth come together to propel adoption and valuation to previously unheard of heights. This is not a fad. Rather, it is a historic turning point where technology and finance meet to transform the architecture of global wealth and open up opportunities for investors across generations.
The decentralized stuff is, I've introduced you to Jen Zhu Scott, who is on the foundation Siri with me, and she's building decentralized power plants.
Exactly, and that interview is booked. So all exponentialists stand by. Jen is coming to the platform to talk to me all about this, and we're going to go deep on this stuff with her. Yeah.
She's also got VC, invests a lot of AI, so she's ultra smart. So you'll enjoy that conversation. I don't know if I booked you the conversation with Meltem Demirors yet. We need to organize that. So Meltem, it was a famous person in crypto, and she saw the opportunity of what this is going to lead to in terms of the need for energy. And she's built a VC about alternative energies, nuclear, distributed energy grids, all of that stuff. She's another ultra smart lady in that space. And you need to talk to her because they're doing some cool stuff as well.
Yeah, I see her on Twitter, and it is, she's fascinating, and it is very cool. And again, like geopolitically so important because yes, the sun doesn't always shine, but it's also very hard for your enemies to stop the sun shining on your country when it wants to. Do you know what I mean? It's just a powerful, essentially free energy source. And you mentioned the Kardashev scale there. Yeah, I mean, that actually has been much on my mind for the last few weeks. You know from GMI that I'm very deep now down this kind of whole rabbit hole of energy and intelligence. That's always been at the heart of my thinking about the exponential age. The last few GMI essays, I've been thinking about what I call the post-human economy, positing this kind of post-singularity economy that's all about the conversion.
It's probably a good article just to talk about the Kardashev scale.
Well, that's going to be the next one. Yeah, because I'm about to blow. I mean, I'm sure Elon is a secret exponentialist reader and GMI reader, and I'm about to blow his mind with a revised Kardashev scale that is it's not just a measure of how much energy you're using. It's instead a measure of how effective you are at converting energy into intelligence. And my core argument in that essay will be that is actually the principal measure of a civilization's advancement, right? So it's like a revised Kardashev scale. You could call it the Pal-Matin scale.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another thing that hit my radar screen was, I can't remember who it is. I think it's China now. They're trying to launch 28,000 satellites. And their idea is to do compute in space. And the reason being is, A, you're closer to the sun. And Elon said about this is like, basically, all satellites are robots plus solar, which is a really simple way of thinking about what they are. And China's doing it to put compute. Why? Because of, I guess, gravitational stuff, temperature, conductivity. There's a whole bunch of advantages. And you kind of think that is another part of this story that is yet to play out, which is how space is going to be not, it doesn't have to be on Earth that you generate the solar for the compute, because we have the ability to send the compute like Starlink down to Earth efficiently.
Exactly. So, and again, taps back to this idea. So can you capture and convert energy into intelligence at a planetary scale? But then can you do it like at a solar system scale? Can you do it at a like local galactic scale? So we're just so early. I mean, I know that sounds grandiose. We go there in the exponentialist. Don't tell everyone else on Real Vision that we're slightly nuts. We're so early in the journey of conversion of energy into intelligence. And I think that is the fundamental story of the universe and of human beings and of what this is all about, or at least that's the argument I'm building.
Well, isn't that
in this series of essays?
This is straight over the cliff again, is if the universe's purpose is to know itself, and that the universal consciousness is the fundamental principle of the universe, then its entire job is to convert energy into consciousness.
Raoul Pal's larger argument that rising global debt, ongoing inflation, and a historic realignment of institutional capital are all closely linked to Bitcoin's surge is now being echoed by an increasing number of well-known investors and analysts. Bitcoin is becoming more and more recognized as a hedge against systemic risk, a limited, decentralized asset impervious to inflationary pressures and governmental manipulation. As macroeconomic instability increases and confidence in fiat currencies declines, Cathie Wood is steadfast in her long-term prediction that Bitcoin will reach approximately $1.55 million by 2030. This prediction is based on the gradual decline in trust in conventional monetary systems and the acceleration of institutional adoption. Her perspective is very similar to Powell's, who thinks that we are about to enter a time when traditional financial institutions start to fail, leaving room for digitally scarce assets like Bitcoin to take center stage. These worries are echoed by Robert Kiyosaki, who predicts that Bitcoin will reach about $1 million by 2035. He links the rise of the cryptocurrency to the unsustainable trajectory of U.S. debt, the erosion of trust in traditional financial governance, and the inevitable major market correction. According to him, the key tenets of the crypto ethos, owning assets that are immune to inflation and governmental regulation, will be essential to preserving wealth in the years to come. Shorter-term analysts are also raising their targets at this time. Marcus Thelen now views approximately $122,000 as a significant near-term resistance, and Andrei Dragos cites sovereign bond models that indicate Bitcoin is already cheap at current prices, pricing in over $200,000 when default risk and the move toward hard assets are taken into account. These overlapping projections point to a larger change in investor sentiment, where conventional safe havens are becoming less trustworthy, and Bitcoin is becoming more than just a speculative tool. It is becoming the foundation of a new financial paradigm. As Pal cautions, we are seeing a profound shift that is being fueled by a desperate rush to assets that provide autonomy, resilience, and scarcity, as well as a declining trust in centralized institutions. Although the trajectory may experience volatility, the fundamental forces propelling capital into cryptocurrency are becoming more potent, indicating a significant structural shift that has the potential to completely reshape international markets.